I'm Suma Katauka and you're watching Primetime Asia on NewsX World. Let's take a look at the top headlines of this hour. Pakistan and Afghanistan have exchanged heavy fire along their border, killing at least 5 people. The clashes follow failed peace talks in Saudi Arabia that took place last week. India's Ministry of Civil Aviation has imposed temporary fare caps on affected airlines, including Indigo. To prevent unusually high pricing during the ongoing disruption, authorities will monitor compliance and take action against any violations. Indian Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that India's economy will grow at least 7% this year, supported by strong, fundamentally low inflation and resilient consumer spending. She has added that RBI's rate cut is boosting growth and investor confidence as well. Beijing and Washington will hold a call to discuss bilateral trade and economic ties as issues from soybean orders to computer chips remain problematic despite the trade truce in October. China's He Lifeng holds dialogue with Trump officials Besant and Greer. China has warned Japan against reviving militarism as Tokyo boosts defense spending, eyes missile exports. China condemns Japan's prime minister for suggesting possible military action over Taiwan, accusing Tokyo of reviving dangerous militarism. Homeowners at Hong Kong's Wong Fuk Court were wrongly assured that Prestige Construction had a clean safety record despite multiple past violations. The deadly November fire has exposed failures in oversight, enforcement, and contractor accountability. Early voting has begun for Myanmar citizens abroad, starting at the embassy in Bangkok as the country prepares for elections criticized internationally. The vote follows nearly 4 years of military rule and ongoing civil conflict. China's officials say the country will work with the U.S. on salient global narcotics issues based on the principles of equality and mutual respect. Adds authorities on both sides are implementing consensus reached between China-U.S. leaders in Busan, South Korea. Now for this hour, we start with Pakistan and Afghanistan. According to reports, Pakistan and Afghanistan have exchanged heavy fire along their shared border, killing at least 5 people amid rising tensions. Afghan Taliban spokesperson Zabihullah Mujahid Saeed has said that Pakistani forces launched attacks in the Spin Boldak district of Kandahar province. His deputy Hamdullah Fitra has confirmed that the shelling killed 5 people, including a Taliban member. A spokesperson for Pakistan's Prime Minister Musharraf Zaidi has said that Afghan forces carried out unprovoked firing along the Chaman border. He has emphasized that Pakistan remains fully alert and committed to protecting its territorial integrity and citizens. This deadly exchange follows last weekend's peace talks in Saudi Arabia, which ended without a breakthrough, though both sides agreed to continue their fragile ceasefire. Islamabad accuses Afghanistan for carrying out recent attacks in Pakistan. The clashes mark the latest escalation since deadly fighting erupted along the border in October, which is the worst violence since the Taliban took power in 2021. Now for this discussion, we welcome Mr. Nisar Ahmed. He's a political affairs specialist, joins us live from Kabul. Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed, for joining us. Welcome to NewsX World. What more can you tell us about this ongoing situation between Afghanistan and Pakistan? According to reports, Pakistan and Afghanistan has exchanged heavy fire along their shared border, killing at least 5 people amid rising tension. Afghan Taliban spokesperson Zabihullah Mujahid has said that Pakistani forces launched attacks in the Spin Boldak district of Kandahar province. His deputy Hamdullah Fitra has confirmed that the shelling killed 5 people, including a Taliban member. A spokesperson for Pakistan's Prime Minister Musharraf Zaidi has said that Afghan forces carried out unprovoked firing along the Chaman border. He He has emphasized that Pakistan remains fully alert and committed to protecting its territorial integrity and citizens. This deadly exchange follows last weekend's peace talks in Saudi Arabia, which ended without a breakthrough, though both sides agreed to continue their fragile ceasefire. Islamabad accuses Afghanistan for carrying out recent attacks in Pakistan. The clashes mark the latest escalation since deadly fighting erupted along the border in October. Now we stay on this topic. Residents near the Pakistan-Afghanistan border are recounting terrifying experiences after a deadly overnight clash between security forces. Abdul Qudus, a laborer in Chaman, Pakistan, has described how a mortar shell exploded near his house, injuring him, his wife, and daughter. Smoke filled the area and he could not see anything, he has said from the hospital. Let's listen in to what the residents have shared.
برای تقریبا فوبالا 9 بجې ولې چې د جنگ پیل وشلو اول ټکانې شروع شوه نو موږ په کور کې تقریبا 15 نفر او ناس له سره چا بغیر کینان ولې چا څه کول یو زورور ټاک وشلو ما چې د کمرې وغوښتل.
The deadly exchange follows last weekend's peace talks in Saudi Arabia, which ended without a breakthrough, though both sides agreed to continue their fragile ceasefire. Islamabad accuses Afghanistan for carrying out recent attacks in Pakistan. The clashes mark the latest escalation since deadly fighting erupted along the border in October. Now for this discussion, we welcome Mr. Nisar Ahmed. He's a political affairs specialist, joins us live from Kabul. Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed, for joining us. Welcome to NewsX World. Now, what more can you tell us about this ongoing situation between Afghanistan and Pakistan? Mr. Ahmed, thank you for joining us. Welcome to NewsX World. What more can you tell us about this ongoing situation between Pakistan and Afghanistan?
I hope you're doing well. Last night there was a clash border between Afghanistan army troop, Taliban, and Pakistan army on December 5th, early hour of December. There was a heavy exchange of gunfire took place between Afghanistan and Pakistan border force in Spinbol, like Chaman region. According to Afghan official, there were five injuries
Thank you very much, Mr. Nisar, for joining us. Now we move on to our next news. Indigo has announced that its operations are gradually stabilizing after a wave of massive flight cancellations this week. The airline has said that cancellations have now dropped below 850 flights, significantly lower than the previous day yesterday, and teams are prioritizing schedule recovery, delay reduction, and customer support. Indigo has also issued direct links for passengers to check real-time flight status and apply for refunds, as the Ministry of Civil Aviation has ordered the airline to clear all pending refunds by 7th December, tomorrow. The government has also instructed Indigo to ensure all lost or separated baggage is to deliver to passengers' homes within the next 48 hours. A high-level probe has been launched by Union Civil Aviation Minister, who has warned that those responsible for the disruptions will pay for it. The ministry has also paused the new flight duty time limitation norms, which reportedly triggered the staffing crunch that led to widespread cancellations. Now for this discussion, we welcome Ms. Vandana Singh. She's an aviation expert, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Ms. Vandana, for joining us again. Good to see you. Now, as you know, you mentioned yesterday in our discussions that this duopoly has caused this, but it seems like Indigo as well as the DGCA is focusing on just making sure the passengers get their package or their baggages and they reach to their destinations and the refunds are done. But this is not, of course, a long-term solution. What do you think would be the long-term solution so that this does not occur again?
So firstly, Azuma, thank you very much for having me on your show.
Thank you.
And secondly, the government has done this, first of all, to ease the passenger harassment. As you know, the passengers are harassed beyond belief. And it's not a situation where what cannot be cured has to be endured. But the long-term solution is very clear. The long-term solution is that all government regulations have to be mandatorily followed. It cannot be arm-twisted by a spoiled child who's just the topper in the class with 62% market share, that they can do what they want to do. It's not a mom and pop shop here. So it is absolutely pertinent and important that we consider bringing, healthy competition into India, which means that more and more players are brought in so that there is healthy competition and it's not a duopoly situation where it's in the hand of one or two carriers and they can do what they want to do. We are a growing economy. We are the 5th largest aviation economy and 3rd largest to be in the world. So this cannot be the state of affairs, and the government has taken the right standing, the right step. For right now, we have to take care of the passengers who are left stranded, who have nowhere to go, who have lost just about everything. So capping of fares has taken already, and the mandate has been passed. The Indigo top management, the CEO, everybody has to give it in writing as to what steps are being taken and that this shall not reoccur. But to tell you, Azuma, this incident will actually not be forgotten and nor be forgiven. Over to you.
Yes, 100%. Unfortunately, we're running out of time for this discussion, but I would like to thank Ms. Vandana Singh for always joining us and sharing that insight with us throughout our news. Thank you very much. Now we stay in India. Indian Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that India's economic growth will accelerate to at least 7% this year, citing strong fundamentals despite global uncertainties. Speaking at the summit, she has highlighted resilient consumer spending supported by low inflation and recent cuts in goods and services tax rates. India's GDP grew 6.5% last fiscal year and beat forecasts to expand 8.2% in the second quarter, driven by robust consumer demand and production ahead of local festivals. The Reserve Bank of India has recently cut its key repurchase agreement rate by 25 basis points, raising this year's GDP growth forecast to 7.3%, while lowering inflation estimates to 2%. The Indian Finance Minister has emphasized that investor confidence is increasing, boosting retail participation in stock markets and demand for home loans. She has added that exporters are benefiting from the rupee's depreciation amid higher U.S. tariffs. The government continues to push domestic reforms to strengthen economic resilience. Now for this discussion, we welcome Mr. Sharad Kohli. He's an economist, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Mr. Sharad, for joining us. Welcome to NewsX World. Now, looking at this, how might India's projected economic growth, how do you think this is influencing its political leverage and also regional and global forums?
Hello, Asuma. Hello to the viewers of NewsX World. I think India is the world's growth engine at this point of time. all the economic parameters which measure a country's progress, they seem to be doing exceptionally well. The GDP, you already mentioned 8.2%, the latest recorded numbers. Our foreign exchange reserves are about $700 billion. Our exports are $800 billion plus. Our PMI, it's called the Purchase Managers Index, that's about 59 to 60 on an average, in fact 60 plus. Our tax collections are growing at about 20%. Basically all the economic parameters, they are doing exceedingly well, except for a slightly weaker rupee versus dollar. So I think India is all set to be world's growth engine, and India is going to drive the global, and this is in the middle of the situation, Azuma, where the world economy is growing merely at 2.5%, whereas India is growing 3 times the global GDP rate. So I think we are we are already 5th largest in the world. In the FY26, we're going to be the 4th largest. We're going to overtake Germany very soon, probably in the next few months, hopefully. And I think India is galloping, and the world is looking at India, $1.4 billion of population, which used to be a liability once, Azuma. Today is an asset for India. 65% of our population is less than 35 years of age. So that becomes a huge asset, and Indian economy comprises of 55 to 60% consumption. So every time we go and buy goods and services, it provides a boost to the economy. So I think India is the future of the world. I personally feel the next decade, Azuma, belongs to India. India is all set to become the economic superpower in the years to come.
Yes, 100%, very exciting. And how do you think, what impact could this recent GST cuts and RBI rate adjustments have on inflation, consumer spending, as well as investment flows in India?
I think GST cut has provided the catalytic impact on the economy. We had 4 rates, now we've got 2 rates, so it has spurred the buying across. As I said, Indian economy comprises of consumption. So there's been a lot of buying. We've had a good monsoon. We had an income tax rate cut also. There's a rebate up to 1.2 million of rupees of income now. And Reserve Bank of India has cut down the interest rates by 125 basis points this year. So I think all the factors which impact the growth of the economy, they seem to be favorable at this point of time. I think India, Azuma, is an envy to any part of the world, because where the global economies, the developed economies are struggling. Look at America, $38 trillion of debt and barely any growth. Look at Europe. So there, I think India is a shining star at this point of time and a case study for some of the developed countries to be looking at.
Yes, 100%. And lastly, Mr. Kohli, how might the rupee's depreciation and rising export demand affect India's trade balance?
Well, I think a falling rupee is not good for the country, but it hasn't fallen to an alarming level. I think Reserve Bank of India is always there to regulate it. It can always do these open market operations by selling dollars to regulate. Exporters are benefiting. But yes, because of the constant outflow of dollars over the last 1 year has contributed. And then, of course, the US tariffs, where the inflow of dollars was sort of constrained, that has led to a weaker rupee. But I really don't think it is a matter of concern as of now, Azuma.
With that, I would like to thank Mr. Sharath Kohli. Thank you very much for joining us as an economist from New Delhi. Thank you very much. Now we move the focus on to Hong Kong. Homeowners at the Hong Kong's Vam Phac Court were wrongly told that Prestige Construction, the contractor now blamed for the city's deadliest fire in decades, had a clean safety record despite having more than a dozen past safety violations. Documents reviewed by Reuters show that consultants Will Power Architects assured residents of Prestige's spotless history while recommending its bid for a 330 million Hong Kong dollars renovation project. In reality, Labour Department records show fines for unsafe scaffolding and faulty electrical work, among other violations. After the November 26th blaze that has killed at least 159 people, authorities have launched manslaughter and corruption investigations, arresting staffs from both Prestige and Will Power. Residents had long raised alarms about flammable materials, workers smoking on the site, and spiraling project costs, but attempts to revoke the contract were delayed for months. Regulators now acknowledge that they previously assured residents of low fire risks, even as concerns mounted. The case has exposed deep failures in contractors' oversight, safety enforcement, and homeowners' governance. Now for this discussion, we welcome Mr. Andrew K.P. Long. He's a China strategist, joins us live from Hong Kong. Thank you very much, Mr. Andrew, for joining us again. Good to see you. Now, what more can you tell us about this ongoing high-profile safety failure reports that's influencing, or reports coming in? How do you think this is going to be affecting broader construction regulation and urban governance strategies moving forward in Hong Kong?
Of this epic fire resulting in the deaths of so many people and affecting the homes of thousands of people, the government has launched a comprehensive committee of inquiry headed by a judge to look at all different aspects, including contractors' due diligence, and including corruption, and also the supervision of workmen on site, the safety, the fire safety material use around the scaffolding, and also the internal fire alarm systems, including some of the fire alarms that were not working at the time of the fire. So that points to quite a large number of defects, both in terms of the supervision of construction, as well as the fire safety installations in different buildings. And in the city, as congested as Hong Kong, full of high rises, obviously this is a very, very serious challenge. And that's why the government has now ordered the dismantling of all this netting around the city, so that they can be re-examined to test their fire safety compliance. But apart from that, there are various investigations going on. The Anti-Corruption Bureau, together with the police, a number of people have been arrested already and charged with manslaughter. They will be brought to the courts very, very soon. And also there is, as I mentioned, a full-scale committee of inquiry to be headed by a judge to look at the widespread aspects of high-rise building renovation, maintenance, and fire safety precautions. This has also caught the attention in Beijing, because Beijing recently ordered the whole country to re-examine their fire safety arrangements, because there are lots of high rises in China as well. And also there is a harrowing story for other countries, because many cities around the world have high-rise buildings, and then over time these buildings may need in renovation, and it's always a danger for fire safety in a very peculiar, very special configuration. For example, fire safety access. What about the lifts? What about in case of a fire, whether the fire engines can access to these buildings, because some roads are quite narrow. And also, if the buildings reach a certain height, whether the water pressure themselves are adequate. And also with modern day technology, it's a question whether more modern firefighting equipment, together with fire hose carrying drones, for example, can help with alleviating the problem. So there are all sorts of different aspects that have to be looked at. And meanwhile, there is an outpouring of solidarity amongst the Hong Kong citizens, resulting in donations, and also together with government funding amounting to something like 500 million US dollars. Nearly 500 million or 400 million US dollars. I think that over about 60% from the government, and 40% from a variety of civil society donations, together with businesses. So on the one hand, there is a sad story and a degree of anger amongst the citizens. On the other hand, Hong Kong stands tall in terms of the solidarity and the civil society of the people. And of course, the government is now conducting a full-scale investigation, looking into all aspects of the disaster to make sure that this will not happen again.
Yes, and Andrew, thank you for highlighting the people's side and also the government side. And how do you think, how long will this political and reputational damage that has caused, this Hong Kong fire has caused, how do you think this will be how long do you think this will take for the Hong Kong administration and also Chinese government to kind of gain the trust back of the Hong Kong's people?
No, I think that the people's trust of the government is still very high. And look, Hong Kong has won the allocates around the world as the freest economy and attracting a lot of investment, and is regarded as the world's safest city, and people can walk around the streets without fear late into the night. And that's coming from the not only Hong Kong residents, but foreigners coming to Hong Kong for the first time or been living here for a long time, compared with other cities across the world, in some of the leading cities in Western countries. And Hong Kong, of course, very, very efficient. The transport system and the Hong Kong government is has an exemplary record. But this fire exposes a long-forgotten problem of the high rises. So I think that the committee of inquiry being set up is targeted to finish the investigation as quickly as possible, but not to rush it so that a lot of the aspects are left untouched. It needs to be thorough. It needs to be looking at across the board, leaving no stone unturned. But on the other hand, needs to be conducted quite efficiently, and that's why there are two choices in the beginning. Either you set up a committee, independent committee headed by a judge, or you have set up an independent commission of inquiry. But usually the commission of inquiry would take years, together with many, many lawyers and so on, and summoning and various procedures. But in light of the urgency of the situation, there are so many high rises in Hong Kong and indeed in many other countries. So the committee is expected to finish the investigation thoroughly, but really efficiently and relatively within a manageable time, so that all the other aspects are looked at and solutions found.
With that, I would like to thank Mr. Andrew K.P. Long for joining us today and sharing that insight from Hong Kong. Now we move on to Myanmar. Early voting has begun for Myanmar citizens living abroad as the country prepares for elections widely criticized by the international community. A few dozen voters cast their ballots at Myanmar's embassy in Bangkok, Thailand, marking the first day of polling for overseas citizens. The vote comes nearly 4 years after the military seized power in a 2021 coup, toppling the elected government and plunging Myanmar into a many-sided civil war. Since then, fighting between the junta and resistance forces has displaced thousands of people, and while international observers say conditions for a free and fair vote remain absent. Let's listen in to some early voters. Now we move on to our next news. The special ambulance sent by the Emir of Qatar to take BNP chairperson Begum Khalida Zia to London for advanced treatment has been delayed due to technical issues. According to BNP's press wing, the flight, which was supposed to arrive in Dhaka last night, is now delayed and details of its departure will be announced later. BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir has explained that the air ambulance has equipped with emergency medical facilities operating, including an operating theater, was set to depart for the UK with Khalida Zia early this morning. However, technical glitches have caused a shift in the schedule. That's all we have time for. Keep watching NewsX World for more news updates from around the world.